Thank you very much for sitting here today and listening to this. I think this is probably the most exciting exploration opportunity on planet Earth. And hopefully by the end of my presentation in 10 minutes, you'll agree. Juniors, why now? We've listened to Anthony Malowski come up here and explain that he thinks that the next wave will come down to juniors, that we still haven't seen that yet. There's a lot of value left on the table. If you have a look here, this is the TSX Venture composite from 1990 to present. And actually, I'm going to try it here with my little, it works, perfect. So right back here, you can see in 2009, 2010, this is the last bull market. And as you see, the TSX Venture, 60 to 70% of these companies are junior companies. So here we are here today. So if you believe that we're in the middle of a secular bull run, we've listened to companies with their 900% rises from 180 million to 2 billion, et cetera, et cetera. We're all seeing the major companies double, triple over. It's time for the juniors, and the time's coming soon. So exploration is really important. Discovery is really important. It's the lifeblood of the industry, and it's where many investors can stand to make the greatest returns.
This is the Rock. For centuries, Newfoundland's economy was tied to the sea's bounty, while the land's vast mineral potential remained concealed. Early prospectors proved mineralization existed, but operations were small and scattered. Exploration was often disrupted by shifting industries and historic priorities. Argentia itself was transformed into a U.S. naval base in 1941. And with most of the land obscured by thick, opaque till, its geologic story remained largely untold. Today, that barrier is gone. Modern airborne surveys, structural mapping, and advanced geoscience allow us to see through the till, to accurately trace the faults, shear zones, and mineralized systems hidden beneath. Newfoundland is now unearthing a wealth of critical minerals. The island's destiny is shifting, from the unpredictability of the sea to the vast untapped resources below. The Rock is ready.
Fun little video that sort of explains the opportunity here in Newfoundland. It's covered. Why is it still available? Well, it's an orogenic terrain. It's covered by a thin veneer of till. And for the first time in civilization, we have the tools and the techniques to unlock this value, to literally take the lid off and explore what could be and could end up being a 100 million ounce to 150 million ounce geological district in Canada. Tim Froud, myself, and Greg Matheson. Greg and I joined recently in October. Greg and I founded Newfound Gold. Many of you may be familiar with that discovery. Tim was the original discoverer of Valentine Lake. Valentine Lake is just officially in commercial production, and Newfound Gold is not far behind. In aggregate, billions of dollars of metal have been found. Our team is very, very experienced. We know exactly what we're doing. It doesn't mean that we're always going to get it right. We need Mother Nature. We need a little bit of luck. But I think we've got the right ground and the right team to do it. Orogenic gold and why it's important. Now, I got to keep this quick because I know we've got a lot to get through in only a few minutes. But the reason why this matters is that if you're into exploration, and particularly into gold exploration, you want to make a world-class gold discovery. You're statistically way more likely to make one in orogenic terrains. Over 41% of all gold ever mined on planet Earth comes from orogenic deposits. They're the biggest, the best, and the most profitable mines. So if you're looking for an economically viable deposit of gold, you're exponentially more likely to find one if you look in orogenic terrains. So we don't we don't beat the geological odds, we play them. Again, it's a risk-reward business. The risk is capital and time and exploration and drilling. We have the science and the methodology to get this done. The reward is exceptional, particularly in these types of terrains, if we can find what we're looking for. Why is Newfoundland an exceptional orogenic terrain? Well, it's the continental collision margin between effectively the African plate and the North American plate. So what you have is two, massive continents colliding, and you've got this subduction. One plate goes underneath the other and builds an accretion arc. What we end up with is green schist facies metamorphism. A whole bunch of that rock, while it's being squished and crinkled up, turns to fluid. About 4 to 5% of it turns to fluid, scours all the rock around it for its gold and its metals, and redeposits those metals in big cracks. Now, this is important because if you think about the Abitibi, from Kirkland Lake, Timmins, all the way through to Val-d'Or, Rouyn-Noranda, world-class orogenesis has brought in unbelievable deposits. Over 200 million ounces of gold have been mined in the Abitibi. But the rocks that were scoured were VMS rocks. There was seafloor VMSs all throughout those rocks. So if you look in proximity to Timmins or Kirkland Lake or Rouyn, you will find your Kidd Creeks, your Horn, the list goes on the VMS deposits of size and scale. And the same is true with Newfoundland. So you have two ingredients. You have orogenesis, but you also have VMS-rich rocks, which give you that bonus metal that you need to make world-class deposits. So Newfoundland is a relatively new jurisdiction. As the short video at the start showed you, that there are some things obscuring historic explorers from really unearthing the potentials of the island. But things have changed. Whether it be land tenure issues, it was the last province to join Confederation. You couldn't even stake claims effectively until the 1990s for the average Joe. And so it's a very young jurisdiction. Newfoundland today is exactly where the Abitibi was 100 years ago. And that's why I love it. That's why Greg loves it. Tim loves it. All the real legendary prospectors of Newfoundland are alive and breathing today, which is not true with just about every single jurisdiction on planet Earth. Here's a comparison done by Ian Hansberger with the Abitibi. As I mentioned, you have all the same ingredients. And over here, you've got Archean rocks, much older. All the top has been eroded off them, but it's an orogenic terrain with VMS-rich rocks, and you've got 200 million ounces of gold plus in this area. This is exactly a scale comparison of Newfoundland versus the Abitibi. And as you can see, we've got big cracks and gold everywhere. So it's just a matter of time and a matter of money before people actually start unearthing what I hope by the time I go to the next stage, if there is one of those, that there'll be 100 million ounces plus of gold found across the island. We have focused on the central gold belt. This is really, really important for us. We're on the Valentine Lake Shear. Valentine Lake is, as I mentioned, Equinox mining down there. Greg and I were over here at Newfound Gold on this crack. That's the Appleton Fault. And now we've concentrated our efforts on Valentine Lake, and this is called the Treasure Island Project. This is our neighbors. So I was just mentioning Newfound Gold and Valentine Lake. The highway that runs from, and I think I have a little video of this, the highway that runs from Newfound Gold, where they're going to be mining, and to the processing facility over in the Baie Verte Peninsula, basically cuts right through our project. So strategically, we've got a pretty solid location. If we find something of critical mass and value, it'll probably matter a lot to Newfound Gold. But it'll matter a lot to Valentine Lake and Equinox as well, we think. Treasure Island Project is absolutely huge. We came into this company in October, and this is the before. This is what Tim had historically had in the company. And after Greg and I got involved, we went crazy and basically staked and acquired as much ground as we possibly could, now amassing over 92 kilometers of high-grade gold potential, 76,000 hectares. This isn't a small property. This is an absolutely massive property. And we're not looking for one deposit, we're looking for multiple deposits. And so this is a property that can host multi-mines, if we're lucky enough to find them. I want to talk a little bit about Moosehead. So over here at Moosehead, this is a spectacular zone. This is what got us super interested being over at Newfound Gold and getting so excited about this project. Now, all of the drilling traditionally on at Sockman, which is the predecessor to Pirate Gold, at Moosehead was focused directly on the one sort of set of veins, and we believe that there's a lot more to be found. And so we've highlighted a few little circles here of areas that we think are good. Now, these are the results that came out, and as you can see, when I say world-class, these are absolutely world-class. 9 meters of 70 grams, 11 meters of 45 grams, 39 meters of 12.5. These are unbelievable numbers. The rock looks almost exactly the same as you see at Newfound Gold. It's a very, very similar deposit type. It's in exactly the same rocks. and we've got the formula. We've done this before. We've spent hundreds of millions of dollars unlocking billions of dollars worth of metal. We can do it again, and the start looks very similar. So last but not least, I'll jump right to Crippleback because this is really exciting for us. Crippleback is very similar to Equinox, is the Valentine Lake deposit. You have this massive intrusion down here called the Valentine Lake Intrusive Suite. This is what all that fluid ran up against and made the deposit on. We have the exact same type of intrusion along the exact same fault. Our intrusion is about 4 times bigger, and it's sandwiched actually in 2 faults. There's a fault on the north side too. So this stuff doesn't have any drilling in it. We've got a lot of work to do. We've got $26 million in the till, a pretty great head start with all of the mineralization that's been found, no shortage of targets, and we've got 50,000 meters planned for this year. So there's going to be no shortage of news coming from us, and we hope we should be so lucky as to find another newfound gold or another Valentine Lake. So thank you very much.